Morning, Eddie. How would you describe Tom's style of captaincy?
Uh, well, lead by example, mate. He reminds me of a young Richie McCaw that was able to lead by example, and as his career progresses, there'll be other bits and pieces of his captaincy that goes with that. But at the start of his career, it's all about leading by example, getting the team on the front foot. And it goes in line with how we want to play the game. We want to go up there and get on the front foot. We want to take Scotland on. It's the first time I have been in the experience of going up there where Scotland are red hot favourites. They're expected to win. Every time the players look at the crowd at Murrayfield, they'll feel that expectation. They're expected to win. They're red hot favourites, so they've got to cope with that.
So, how do you expect your team to equip? How well equipped are they to deal with what's coming?
Yeah, no, we're very quick. We're a good, but we're a young, but we're a good side. We've had a really good preparation. We've had a few obstacles thrown in at us, but we've coped with it really well. The sides come together well tactically and socially and emotionally, and we can't wait to get up there, mate. And the best thing about it, we're going to play in Scottish weather.
Just one more on Tom. At what point did you realise in his development that you saw that captaincy potential in him?
Well, I think it's been this since autumn, where he's a player that players like to play with. Not dissimilar to Owen. That Owen was similar. That players like to play with those sort of players that lead by example. And so he's got an opportunity. We're hopeful Courtney will be back at some stage, but for this week, he's the most important player to take that big C.
Thank you, Eddie. Cheers.
Thanks very much, Duncan. Liam, please.
Eddie, how are you doing? Can you please just talk me through your changes in the pack? You've got Lewis in this week and you've got Nick as well. Can you talk to me about them two players and where they're in?
Yeah, well, they've done really well. With Courtney unavailable at 6, Lewis has been one of the outstanding back rowers in the Premiership. We brought him into the World Cup squad in 2019 out of nowhere. He suffered a little bit of a dip in form post the World Cup, which is not unusual for young players, but he's fought back really hard, got the basics of his game in place, and he's a good, tough competitor. Nick Ezekwe's not dissimilar, but he was a little bit earlier. We took him on the 2018 tour to South Africa, showed enough promise to be given his first cap, had a difficult game. It was a bit up and down in his club rugby, but over the last 12 months, he's been one of the outstanding locks in the Premiership. And with Murray forms a pair that we think can shade Scotland in the lineouts, and their play around the ruck is first class.
Can you also give me an insight into your backline changes there with Elliott coming in at 13 and you've got Max Malins on the wing as well, please?
Yeah, well, Max is a very good winger, come fullback. Elliott, it was a choice of either him or Joe March at 13. We just feel Elliott with a little bit more experience, and we feel like he's in really good form. Joe's obviously had a bit of a troubled preparation for this game, but he'll be able to fit in on the wing well.
Okay, just finally for me, what gives you confidence that it will all go well on Saturday, that England are going to win?
Well, every game we're like that, mate. But this is a special game, isn't it? It's a special game, the Calcutta Club. I think it's been going for 143 years. Means a lot to both countries, and it's the first time I've gone there at Murrayfield as the underdogs. So Scotland are red hot favourites. They've got to cope with that expectation. There's 62,000 fans, and then they'll be thinking about all the fans on BBC television that are watching the game. So they've got to carry that burden. Every game for us is the same. We're expected to win, so it's no different for us. We've had a really good preparation. As I said, we've got a young team, but a very good team. We've got enough in our set piece to get an advantage, and we feel that if we get some good quality ball, we'll be able to use it particularly well. And then aerially, we've got a very strong team with Max and Joe Marchant and Freddie at the back.
Yes, good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, very good, very good.
Excited, I imagine. We spoke yesterday to Alex Anderson, who talked about when you came back from the Lions tour and leadership became a really important factor for you, like the next big thing for you to address and try and take on in your game. Could you just take us back to those conversations and what it was perhaps on that trip that made you realise this was the next big thing for you?
It probably came before that, the end of season when we had a few injuries in terms of like Jono, Lewis. So basically got to a point where I was kind of like a last resort for Al, I think, because I think we had a conversation. We were kind of speaking about he didn't want to distract me or take anything away from my game. So we had a conversation before that in terms of like, how do you want to do it and how do you want to go about this? And I just wanted to be myself, and he agreed. And that's kind of what we've been really focusing on, or me have been focusing on, is how can you do this but stay true to yourself, really, and do it your way.
And what's the answer?
I think lead by example. It's a thing we'll find out, isn't it? It's a journey. But yeah, for now, that's kind of my focus and how I see it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Daniel Murrayfield.
Hi Tom, congratulations.
Thank you.
What does it mean to you, first of all, to be England's youngest captain since Will Carling? And have you ever had conversations with Will? I know he's comes into the camp as a sort of leadership consultant.
Yeah, no, obviously it means a hell of a lot. It's you grow up wanting to play for England, so then to be named as captain's pretty emotional. But I think the big thing is that we do a job. Speaking to Will, he's been a really good influence. We kind of as a group, as a leadership group, we speak to him 2 or 3 times a week. So we get a lot of advice and kind of how he sees it and how we can improve, always asking questions, and I think he's been a great influence on the group as a whole.
So is there anything specific he's said to you that's really helped, or have you spoken to him this week at all?
Be yourself. I think be yourself and enjoy it. And kind of just messages from kind of like Jono to Al, Eddie, these voices you listen to, and it's pretty similar as be yourself, but mostly enjoy it.
And yes, Alex drew the comparison between you and Owen Farrell and said you share a lot of similar qualities. Is that something, as leaders, is that something you see yourself, and how much of an influence has he been on you?
Yeah, Owen's massive in terms of kind of just seeing the way he operates when you first come in and seeing how competitive he is day to day. Obviously, everyone's different in terms of their characters and how they are and how they want to be. So it's kind of, you probably draw yourself away from that side because everyone's different. So it's kind of finding the way you want to do it. But I think kind of his competitive spirit is massive, and it's very inspirational.